Imagine you are sitting down on a Friday evening to stream your favorite show in high definition, or maybe you are in the middle of a crucial gaming session where every millisecond of latency counts. Suddenly, the image blurs into a mess of pixels, your character freezes in place, and that dreaded buffering wheel begins to spin in the center of your screen. You check your router, you restart your computer, and you might even call customer support only to be told that everything looks fine on their end. But the truth is far more calculated. Right now, across the United States, a massive wave of internet throttling is quietly rolling out, and Comcast is at the center of the storm. Users are reporting speed drops of up to 70% on their home fiber and cable connections, and it is not because of a technical glitch. It is a deliberate strategy to manage network congestion at the expense of your paid subscription. This is a quiet war on your bandwidth, and if you don't know the specific technical workarounds to bypass these artificial bottlenecks, you are essentially paying full price for a fraction of the service you were promised. Today we are breaking down exactly how this throttling works, why it is happening right now, and the 3 proven methods you can use to force your connection back to its full potential. We have to start by understanding what throttling actually is in the modern era. Years ago, throttling was a simple thing. If you used too much data, they slowed you down. But in 2026, the tactics have become much more sophisticated. Comcast and other major providers are using deep packet inspection. This is a technology that allows their servers to look at the type of data you are receiving. They aren't just seeing that you are using the internet. They are seeing that you are watching a specific streaming service or downloading a large file from a specific server. When the system detects high bandwidth activity that doesn't belong to one of their preferred partner apps, it automatically places your connection into a lower priority lane. It is like a highway where the toll-paying partners get the fast lane, and you, the average homeowner, are forced into the slow lane regardless of how much you pay for your monthly plan. They don't call it throttling in their internal memos. They call it active traffic management or network optimization. But for you, the result is the same: a connection that feels sluggish, unreliable, and frustrating. The reason this is hitting a breaking point right now involves a shift in how these companies are managing their infrastructure. As more people move to 4K and even 8K streaming, and as game file sizes swell to hundreds of gigabytes, the physical cables in the ground are under more pressure than ever. Instead of investing billions into upgrading the hardware for everyone, it is much cheaper for a corporation to simply squeeze the existing pipes. By artificially limiting the speeds of millions of households by 70% during peak hours, they can avoid the cost of hardware upgrades while continuing to collect your monthly checks. It is a massive breach of trust. And because of the lack of competition in many American markets, they know you have very few places to turn. This is why we have to take matters into our own hands. We cannot wait for local governments or regulators to step in while our internet is being strangled. Let us get into the first and most effective way to stop this: using a high-quality encrypted tunnel. When you use a standard internet connection, your provider sees everything. They see that you are connecting to a Netflix server or a Steam server. But when you use a reputable encrypted tunnel, also known as a virtual private network, all your data is wrapped in a layer of unbreakable math. Comcast can see that you are using data, but they cannot see what that data is, because their throttling algorithms rely on knowing what type of traffic you are using to decide whether to slow you down. An encrypted tunnel effectively blinds their system. If they don't know it is a video stream, they can't decide to throttle it by 70%. Many users who were seeing their speeds capped at 30 megabits per second have found that by simply flipping on an encrypted tunnel, their speeds instantly jump back up to 300 or 500 megabits. You are essentially hiding your activity within a black box that the provider's traffic management tools cannot penetrate. However, you have to be careful which tunnel you choose. If you use a free service, you are often just swapping one problem for another. Free services often sell your data to the same brokers that the internet providers do. You want a service that uses modern protocols like WireGuard, which is designed for high speed and low latency. Standard older protocols can sometimes add too much overhead, which might slow you down even further. But with a modern, high-speed encrypted connection, you can successfully bypass the deep packet inspection and reclaim the bandwidth you are paying for. It is the single most powerful tool in your arsenal to fight back against corporate throttling. The second method involves changing your DNS settings. DNS stands for Domain Name System, and it is essentially the phone book of the internet. By default, Your computer and your router use Comcast's own DNS servers. This means they are involved in every single request you make. Not only does this allow them to track every website you visit, but it also gives them another lever to control your traffic. Many of the throttling triggers are built into these default DNS servers. By switching your DNS to a localized third-party provider like Cloudflare or Google Public DNS, you are bypassing a major part of the tracking infrastructure. It is a simple change that you can make in your router settings or even directly on your computer or gaming console. When you use a third-party DNS, your requests are often resolved faster, leading to a snappier browsing experience. And it makes it much harder for the provider's automated systems to categorize and throttle your traffic patterns. Now, we need to talk about the physical hardware in your home. Many people use the modem-router combo provided by Comcast. This is a huge mistake. These devices are not just pieces of hardware. They are outposts of the provider's network inside your living room. They are pre-configured with software that makes it incredibly easy for the company to monitor and manage your connection. If you want true freedom and the best possible speeds, you should buy your own standalone modem and a high-end third-party router. When you own the hardware, you control the software. You can set up your own traffic rules. You can implement system-wide encryption, and you can ensure that there are no hidden backdoors allowing the provider to throttle your local network. It might cost you a bit of money up front, but it saves you from the monthly rental fees and, more importantly, it gives you a much more robust shield against network manipulation. The third method is a bit more technical but extremely effective for those who are comfortable with their router settings. It involves adjusting your maximum transmission unit, or MTU. Sometimes, throttling systems look for specific packet sizes that are common in video streaming. By slightly adjusting your MTU settings, you are changing the size of the data packets leaving your network. This can sometimes confuse the automated throttling systems, as the traffic no longer fits the profile of the data they are looking to slow down. It is a bit like changing the shape of the boxes you are shipping so they don't look like the ones the inspectors are looking for. While this takes some trial and error to get right without causing other connectivity issues, it is a pro-level move that can significantly improve your throughput in heavily throttled areas. Why is Comcast doing this now? You have to look at the financial reports. The growth of traditional cable television is in a downward spiral. As more people cut the cord, these companies are losing billions in subscription revenue. To make up for that loss, they are turning their internet service into a tiered, premium product. They want to create a world where you pay a base price for a slow connection and then have to pay for add-on packs to get high-speed access to specific services. By throttling your connection now, they are conditioning you to accept lower speeds so that when they offer a paid fast lane later, it seems like an upgrade rather than a restoration of what you once had. It is a psychological game as much as a technical one. They are trying to lower the bar of what you consider a good internet connection. We also have to consider the impact of regional monopolies. In many parts of America, Comcast is the only high-speed option. This lack of competition means they have no incentive to provide the best possible service. If you are unhappy with your 70% speed drop, where are you going to go? To a satellite provider with high latency? To a legacy DSL connection that is even slower? They know they have you trapped, and that is why they feel comfortable being so aggressive with their throttling. This is why community awareness is so important. When thousands of people in a single city start reporting these issues and using workarounds, it sends a message that the user base is not as passive as the corporate offices might hope. Another factor at play is the rise of 5G home internet. As mobile carriers start competing in the home broadband space, traditional cable companies are feeling the heat. Instead of competing by offering better service, they are often using their existing market dominance to squeeze users. They might prioritize their own streaming services while throttling competitors like YouTube or Netflix to make their own products look better by comparison. This is a direct violation of the spirit of a free and open internet. But in the current regulatory environment, there are very few protections for the consumer. You are essentially on your own, and your only defense is your own technical knowledge. Let us talk about how to test if you are being throttled. You cannot just use a standard speed test. Most providers recognize the IP addresses of popular speed test sites and will actually unthrottle your connection just for that test to make it look like everything is fine. This is a common trick. To get a real result, you need to use a specialized test like the one provided by Fast.com, which uses Netflix's servers, or a test that runs through an encrypted tunnel. If your speed is 60 megabits on a standard test but jumps to 200 megabits when you turn on your encryption, you have definitive proof that your provider is throttling you. They are seeing the Netflix traffic on the first test and slowing it down, but they can't see what the data is on the second test, so they let it through at full speed. What should you do if you catch them in the act? The first step is to document everything. Take screenshots of your speed tests with and without the workarounds. If you decide to call customer service, don't be aggressive, but be firm. Tell them you have evidence of protocol-specific throttling and ask for a technician to look at your line. Often, just showing that you are a technically literate user who understands what they are doing will be enough for them to flag your account to be left alone by the automated systems. These companies usually go after the low-hanging fruit, the users who won't notice or won't complain. If you become a squeaky wheel, they might just decide it is easier to give you the speed you pay for than to deal with your complaints. There is also the issue of data caps. Along with throttling, Comcast has been reintroducing data caps in many markets. This is another way to squeeze money out of users. They know that in a world of cloud backups, 4K video, and digital game downloads, a 1 terabyte cap is very easy to hit. Once you hit that cap, they either charge you massive overage fees or throttle your connection to a crawl. By using the bypass methods we discussed, you aren't necessarily getting around the cap itself, but you are ensuring that for the data you do use, you are getting the full speed you are entitled to. It is about maximizing the value of what you are paying for. We also have to look at the future of the internet in America. If this trend continues, we are looking at a fragmented web where your experience is dictated by which corporate entities have signed deals with your provider. Imagine a world where your smart home devices only work properly if you pay an extra $10 a month to the internet company, or where your work-from-home video calls are constantly blurry unless you subscribe to a business-tier plan. This is the path we are on if we don't push back. By using encryption and third-party hardware, you are casting a vote for a neutral internet. You are refusing to let your provider dictate how you use the bandwidth that you bought. For those who are gaming, throttling is even more damaging. It isn't just about the raw download speed. It's about jitter and packet loss. When a provider throttles a connection, they often do it by dropping packets or delaying them. This might not matter much for a video that can buffer, but for a live game, it is a disaster. It leads to rubber banding and disconnections. Many gamers have found that by using a gaming-optimized encrypted tunnel or setting up a dedicated gaming router with custom firmware, they can bypass the provider's heavy-handed traffic management and get a much more stable ping. It is about ensuring that your data takes the shortest, most direct path possible, without being diverted through an inspection server. I want to emphasize the importance of your router's firmware. Most off-the-shelf routers come with very basic software. If you really want to take control of your home network, look for a router that supports open-source firmware like DDWRT or OpenWRT. These operating systems give you granular control over every aspect of your connection. You can see exactly which devices are using data. You can set up advanced encryption at the router level so every device in your house is protected, and you can implement sophisticated rules to prevent your provider from seeing what you are doing. It is the ultimate way to future-proof your home internet against the increasingly aggressive tactics of the big providers. Let us recap the steps you need to take. First, get a high-quality encrypted tunnel and run it at the device or router level. This is your primary shield. Second, change your DNS settings to a third-party provider like Cloudflare. This speeds up your requests and removes a layer of tracking. Third, if possible, replace your provider-issued modem and router with your own high-performance hardware. This removes the corporate outpost from your home and gives you total control. Finally, document your speeds and be prepared to hold your provider accountable. Don't let them tell you that 30% of your promised speed is acceptable. The internet is no longer a luxury. It is a utility as vital as water or electricity. We wouldn't accept it if our power company decided to dim our lights by 70% during dinner time to save on fuel, and we shouldn't accept it from our internet providers. The technology exists to bypass these restrictions, but it requires us to be proactive. Comcast and other giants are betting that you are too busy or too uninterested to learn these tricks. They are counting on your complacency to fuel their profit margins. By watching this and taking action, you are proving them wrong. You are taking back the digital highway that you already paid to use. Be aware that these companies are constantly updating their own methods. It is a game of cat and mouse. An encrypted tunnel that works today might be targeted for throttling tomorrow. That is why staying informed and being part of the tech community is so vital. When a new throttling technique is discovered, the community is usually very quick to find a workaround. Whether it is changing ports, using obfuscated protocols, or switching to a different DNS, there is always a way through the wall. The goal is to make it as difficult and expensive as possible for the provider to throttle you. If you make yourself a difficult target, they will move on to someone else. In the long run, the real solution is more competition and better regulation. We need more fiber-to-the-home providers and more municipal broadband projects that treat the internet as a public good rather than a corporate cash cow. But until that happens, we have to use the tools we have. We have to be our own network engineers. It might seem like a lot of work just to watch a movie or play a game, but the principle of an open internet is worth fighting for. Your home is your private space, and what you do on your own connection should be your business alone, not something for a corporation to monitor and manipulate for a few extra cents of profit. So go into your settings tonight, run those speed tests, see what your connection is truly capable of when the corporate shackles are removed. You might be surprised to find that the internet you've been complaining about for months isn't actually slow, it's just being held back. Reclaim your 70%, reclaim your speed, and most importantly, reclaim your freedom on the web. It's time to show these providers that American homes are not their data mines or their playgrounds. We are the customers, and we demand the service we pay for. Stay sharp, stay connected, and don't let the throttling win. The power to stop it is literally at your fingertips. Take that control back before the next update makes it even harder. You have the tools, you have the knowledge, and now you have the plan. Let's get to work and fix that connection once and for all. Your digital life is waiting for you at full speed.